Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, everyone. I'm Theo, and today I'll be talking about my journey in Brawl Stars to reach Masters as a solo queue player in Ranked. If you don't know what Brawl Stars is about, you're living under a rock. Basically, it's an intense, strategic, and ridiculously fun online 3v3 shooter game, and I highly recommend checking it out because it's really amazing. The highest rank in Ranked will be Masters, and I challenged myself to reach there without the help of any of my friends. In this video, I will cover the different milestones I've gone through to reach Masters. The total journey took around 4 days with some breaks in between because I was lazy. The total journey took around 4 days because I wanted to play the Grand Run and Grand Fest in Splatoon 3. On day 1, I straightaway pushed from Bronze to Mythic, since these were the easier milestones thanks to the elo boost, so the real journey pretty much started at Mythic. I mainly used Nita, Jessie, Gale, Buster, Surge, and Mac to destroy children and bots. By the way, I got this skin on my first rank star drop. This skin is so sick. If you can't get this skin yet, it's obviously a skill issue. Just kidding. Please don't get offended. On day 2, I pushed to Mythic 2. On day 3, I pushed from Mythic 2 all the way to Legendary 3. I think it took me around 2 or 3 hours. That day was crazy for me, not gonna lie. Most of the games in Mythic 3 were fairly simple. I had an enemy team who used Dynamite and Bounty. The enemy team used Dynamite and Bow in an open bounty map. My favorite draft in Mythic 3 was in Carbon Canyon Heights, where I picked Ember for the momentum modifier to move around very quickly. The enemies kept missing their shots and we won quite quickly. In my final match to Legendary 1, it was a bounty map with the momentum modifier. I went with Max so that I could become 10th side. The first 2 rounds went rather smoothly, and I thought the most satisfying part of that win was when the Crow tried to rush the Angelo at our base when we had 18 stars. So when the Crow reached our base, I cornered him and finished him off, allowing myself to secure a spot at Legendary 1. Now Legendary is where the tricky part really comes in as there is no elo boost to help. From Legendary 1 to Legendary 2, it took around 7 games to reach that rank. The first 2 games were really bad and I refused to show the gameplay of those 2 games since it would demoralize me even further and make me cry. You don't want to see me cry, do you? Our next game was a Brawl Ball match, and I thought that I got quite lucky because there were 2 people on the enemy team who were AFK, and I felt bad for the Brock on the enemy team. Just kidding, I don't feel bad, and thank you for the free W anyways. Our second match was really simple. It's open business with the Bushy modifier. I think I was second last or last pick, so I went Nita since she can be really strong when scaring people in the bushes. And I was right. The third map was Jangram, double swoosh with the Bushy modifier. That was an easy Rosa pick for me, and we cleared that round 2 with no problem. Next up, we had Heist Hot Potato, the Rico and Thrower Paradise map. My first pick was Barley cause I figured he'd be really strong with all the walls protecting him. When the enemy team picked Cold and Anger, I thought I was done for, since they had 2 brawls that could counter me and the Neri. I was blessed to have a really strong BB teammate that kept demolishing the enemy team. I landed the finishing blow with 2 of my basic attacks and we were 1 game away from reaching Legendary 2. The last match to Legendary 2 was Heist Breach too far with the momentum modifier, so I went Crow to try to pressurize the enemy team and also charge up my hypercharge to deal massive damage to the save. We won quite easily and moved on to Legendary 2. One of the most memorable matches in Legendary 2 was a knockout match on Bell's Rock. The first match went by quite quickly thanks to the help of the Kid and Sprout. However, for the second match, we lost terribly due to my terrible movement and a skill issue on my part for not being able to dodge the attacks. So I was essentially the weakest link of the chain. I felt bad for myself and my teammates, so I knew I had to lock in. I had lag at that time, so I couldn't do anything for that one round of knockout, but we surprisingly won that match. The next round I was back in the game with no lag, but we lost that round due to the enemy's successful defensive play. Honestly, the bot plays way better than me, so why do I even bother playing anyways? For the third round, I was really struggling to find an opening where I can win. But at that moment, the Piper was trying to do a pro gamer move and she jumped towards us, and I took the chance to use my gadget, finish her off. The Sprout and I died to the berry due to several skill issues, and I'm thankful for the kid to have carried us and soloed the other two members. One of the matches in knockout resulted in a loss cause I threw. Match number 9 resulted in a loss because of bad drafting and my Darrow skills weren't as good as I thought it would be. I was thinking like, oh, since Darrow is S tier, why not I give him a try? After that game, I'm never trying him again. I had another loss in Legendary 2 mainly because I had a bad pick against my enemies and the Surge in my team had the audacity to turn into a bot. So yeah, we lost that match as well. One of the Gen Grab matches was last stop where it was Bug Ammo's modifier and I picked RT for the additional damage boost. At one point I had all the gems with my super out in the open and the Piper was in range. I thought I was kinda cool, but for some reason the Piper didn't aim her shots at my lower half of my body and my teammates did a really good job in defending me with all their lives and I'm really grateful for them. Legendary 2 had some struggles but mostly I was able to clear them with ease. On day 4, I decided to go for my final push. Legendary 3 was where the struggle really started to show. It always happened before reaching Masters, which kinda makes sense since everyone is fighting to reach the highest rank. Legendary 3 took about 10 plus matches. Our first match was quite tough where we lost due to being outplayed by the enemy team. I admittedly did not perform my best, but the reason why we lost the game is definitely not solely because of me, but it's because of this annoying teammate of mine for making a bad play. I have no idea why bro is targeting me. For the second match, he walked over to a corner of the map and did nothing for the rest of the game. Honestly, that's really salty and I hope I never get to see him again in other matches. Our second match was a clean sweep, though I nearly messed up by not picking up a gem. Okay, so for our third match was For the fourth match, I had no idea what I was thinking. I thought I was the best Primo player because I have a freaking rank 30. So I picked Primo thinking that I would be able to counter the Mortis and Jessie, but I was clearly wrong. In our fifth match, it was a bounty map. We had Surge Chester Sprout and the enemy had Larry, Dinah and Angelo. First round, I was being a chicken and didn't pressurize well enough, since I was too afraid of going down to Legendary 2. In our second round, the enemy team initially had the most stars, but the Dynamite fumbled and walked towards the Sprout, and we ended up winning the round with more stars. The last round was probably the most intense and sweatiest one. Initially, we were leading until the Chester and I fumbled hard, which led to the enemy team leading, but thankfully the Sprout managed to clutch up by finishing off the Dinah. For the rest of the matches, we played passively, kept our distances, and ended up winning. The fifth match resulted in a loss because I threw the game. Our fifth match resulted in a loss because I suck at aiming, and it's also because I suck at dodging. We had a Barrier RT and Max while the enemy had Bell, Manny and Jade. My aiming was really bad in this game, so it's no surprise that we lost. Match number 6 was a gen grab match with the momentum modifier. We had a Bo, Tara and BB against a Sandy, Gus and Chester. Honestly, I was planning to dodge that match since I don't really trust Bows and BBs, especially after what the randoms are capable of in lower ranks. But I decided to give it a shot, and I was really blessed to have really decent teammates. The BB was absolutely shredding the Sandy and Gus. Our first round was a flawless victory, and our second one was also a sweep because the Chester gave up. Thank God I did not dodge that match. Anyways, thanks for the free win, Chester. Match number 7 was a Brawl Ball match, Chester, Tara and Gale against Fang, Mr. Krabs and second best. Initially, I had my doubts on the Gale since he was power 10, but thankfully, the Fang was the one who sucked. Match number 8 was another Brawl Ball match, Nita, Rico, Buzz against Jackie, Colette and Cordelius. The first round we got unlucky. The Jackie put her super which allowed the Cordelius to score. Second round, we had to lock in. I tried pacing to prevent the Jackie from rushing me, and we managed to sweep through the other 2 rounds and claim our W. At one point, I accidentally passed the ball to the Jackie and she scored. I was honestly kinda shocked, and I still blame myself for this. Thankfully, the Buzz locked in, somehow scored a goal for us. The Rico got really furious and team-wiped all 3 of them by himself. Now for the last match, I couldn't pass up the opportunity and managed to record the whole thing. For the last match, it was double swoosh for gen grab, and a sense of calm washed over me as I knew who I had to pick. I was pondering whether or not to ban Rosa since the enemy had a first pick, but in my head I was thinking that Rosa is the only win condition for me, so I took the gamble and thankfully the enemy team picked Sandy, a brawler that Rosa could counter. My heart swelled with relief and I knew I had a good chance in winning the game. The enemy team 5th pick was Jessie, which I admit was pretty intimidating, since she can counter both of us if we are not careful. Our last pick was an Ems, but I think it was fine since she's a really good controller. This was probably and possibly the final match to Masters, and I knew I had to lock in as much as possible. To start off, I sacrificed myself to rush the Jessie and Sandy, leaving Sandy to waste 1 gadget on me, and also allowing my teammates to clear out the Jessie and Gale, allowing us to take control of the gen grab map. We were having 7 gems until the Ems got slowed down by the Jessie and was eventually killed off. It wasn't looking very good for us, so I pressed my gadget quickly to slow down my enemies in the bushes. This definitely worked quite as the Jessie was slowed and eventually killed off, leaving the Crow with 7 gems. When the last gem spawned, I quickly rushed forward to grab it and thankfully wasn't killed off right away. The Crow was poking through the bushes to keep the enemy team away, while I stayed on the top left to ensure that no one reaches the Crow. With that, we successfully won the first round and moved on to the second round. At this point in time, my heart was beating rapidly against my chest. I could not afford this opportunity to pass up. I had to win this game to reach the final rank and my dream goal. During the second round, the enemy team seemed to have locked in. I noticed their playstyle got slightly more aggressive and they were taking control of the center. Me and the Ems were taken out, so I had to find a way to regain back the center. While the Crow was trying to 1v1 the Gale, I noticed the Sandy and Jessie, they were lumped together. Using this opportunity, I rushed towards them, activated my shield and finished them off. While defeating the Sandy and Jessie, the Crow and Ems took out the Gale as well. I used my dodging skills, I charged up my super, which allowed me to slow them with my hypercharge and finish them off quickly again. And together with the M's, we finished off the kill. At this point of time, we were at 7 gems. If we just keep this up, we will be able to win the game. But it wasn't as easy as I expected. Sandy was furious. He activated his hypercharge and silenced us. The M's was cornered and killed off by the kill. Me and the crow were being pinned at one corner, so I decided to try and push our enemies away. With only 10% of my HP left, I rushed the Sandy with my hyper and was able to finish him off miraculously with probably only 2% of my health left. Me and the crow were able to keep our gems with our successful defense. When the Sandy respawned, Bro got furious, and he unleashed another super on us, revealing our locations and damaging us. Knowing we were going to get ambushed by our enemies, I used my gadget to slow them down on their tracks. We weren't killed off yet, but the enemies had taken control of the map. In less than 10 seconds after our enemies had gained control of the map, the M's and Crow were taken out by the evil trio. It was not looking pretty for us, so I took the right lane and tried to scare the team away. It somehow worked and I found the trio behind the wall in the middle lane. However, I was a little reckless and the Jessie drowned me with her water gun. The enemies finally got 10 gems. It was not looking good for us, but thankfully we had 7 gems, so it was possible to get 10 gems before the timer went out. And thankfully, there was 2 seconds left before it was all over for us. Me and the M's killed off the Jessie and our crow was able to pressurize the Gale and Sandy into the bushes. While doing so, I used my hypercharge to attack the Gale. The crow jumped into the fight and helped me finish off the Gale. And in 3, 2, 1... Honestly, I still can't believe my eyes. All that hard work and training from watching Spend Elsie's job really put off, and I was finally able to reach Masters solo. And you know what's the best part? I got a really cool DJ skin and got star player for that round. Oh, what a way to end this push. Now I know what you may be thinking, but still, there are 9-year-olds who have reached Masters before. And my response to that is, I don't care. Knowing that I was probably at least top 5% of the player base makes me really happy and I'm really excited to share this journey here. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. You can catch me uploading at least once a week, hopefully. And with that, goodbye and stay fresh.